Katie Logan on The Bold and the Beautiful is definitely a survivor. The beleaguered heroine has been through the ringer, and usually comes out the other side stronger than ever. Although newer viewers might be surprised to learn that the character first appeared when B&B premiered back in 1987 and was played by Nancy Sloan. The actress made recurring appearances until 1996, then guest appearances in subsequent years before Heather Tom took over the role in 2007 on a permanent basis. The youngest daughter of Beth and Stephen Logan, Katie always felt like she grew up in the shadow of older sisters Brooke Logan and Donna Logan. Donna convinced her friend, Rocco Carner, to go out with Katie, who fell for him and was crushed to realize that he really wanted Donna. Katie also teamed up with her sister to track down their estranged father and reunite him with their mother. In August of 2007, Katie returned to Los Angeles for Donna's wedding to Thorne Forrester and was shocked to learn Donna was only doing it to get back at Stephanie Forrester, so she told the groom, and Donna was furious at her sister for spoiling her plans. Katie began working in the PR department at Forrester and convinced Stephanie not to press charges against Storm Logan after he shot her. Katie tried to intervene when her unbalanced brother threatened to kill Ashley Abbott and was shot in the struggle. With his sister requiring a heart transplant, Storm took his own life so she could receive his heart. Katie is now living with her brother's heart. Aaron Montgomery /JPStudios.com. However, Katie's body began rejecting the organ and everyone tried to make her final days as special as possible. During this time, Katie developed feelings for Bridget Forrester's fiancé, Nick Maroney, and after Bridget found a way to save Katie's life, she turned out to be pregnant after Nick granted her dying wish to make love. Having married Nick in the meantime, Bridget dumped him, and though Katie miscarried their child, she and Nick planned to marry. But Katie felt awful about ruining Bridget's marriage and called off the wedding, letting them go back to each other. Drowning her sorrows, Katie met Bill Spencer Jr., who surprisingly didn't take advantage of her in her inebriated state. Katie began dating Bill, who acquired Forrester Creations and installed her as CEO. Katie hired Brooke and Donna to work there, which led to much drama between the Logans and the Forresters. Bill proposed, and he and Katie became man and wife, and she helped him build a relationship with his newly discovered son, Liam. But when Katie discovered Bill's fling with Steffi Forrester, she had a heart attack and insisted he chose between them. Naturally, Bill chose Katie, but he also locked her in a tower to keep her from exposing his scheme to ensure Liam married Steffi. Katie nearly didn't get to meet her son, Will. Howard Wise /JPStudios.com. Although they worked out their differences, when Katie learned she was pregnant, Bill urged her to get an abortion because of her heart condition. Katie refused and nearly died after giving birth to their son, Will Spencer. Suffering from postpartum depression, Katie pushed Bill together with Brooke so that Will wouldn't grow up without a mother, but when she regained her senses, she realized that her husband and sister had developed feelings for each other. After another health scare, Katie returned to Bill, but she divorced him when she learned he'd slept with Brooke, taking over Spencer Publications in the settlement. Next, Katie found herself drawn to Ridge Forrester, who had offered her a shoulder to lean on. But despite his romantic declarations and marriage proposal, Ridge's rush to stop Brooke from marrying Bill showed Katie where his heart truly belonged. Although Katie went back to Bill, her constant jealousy about his connection to Brooke drove her to drown her sorrows in alcohol. She also discovered that Ridge wasn't the father of Caroline's son and bitterly exposed the scandalous truth. Katie and Wyatt's fling burned out quickly. Howard Wise /JPStudios.com. After getting herself together, Katie divorced Bill so he could be with Brooke, and moved into a house next to Eric Forrester. Quinn Fuller grew jealous of their friendship, and when she was shot at, Katie became a prime suspect. It was really Deacon Sharp, though. Katie returned to her PR position at Forrester, which led to some sparks flying between her and Bill's son, Wyatt Spencer. They tried to keep their relationship quiet, but they eventually went public and planned to marry. However, seeing her son's confusion about Wyatt's role in their lives, Katie had second thoughts and called it off. Growing closer to Thorne, Kate took his advice to pursue sole custody of Will, even marrying him to help influence the judge's decision. But after learning Ridge had called in a favor with the judge, who was an old friend, a guilty Katie allowed Bill to spend more time with his son and found that he'd seemed to have changed his ways. Realizing Katie didn't truly love him, Thorne suddenly asked for a divorce and left her. Katie carefully rekindled things with Bill but turned down his proposal, not sure he had really changed. In fact, she asked Shauna Fulton to try to seduce Bill, just to test his loyalty. He passed. Later, Katie was horrified to learn that Shauna's daughter, Flo, who had recently been revealed to be Storm's daughter, had been part of a baby swap and helped welcome Hope's baby, Beth, into the Logan family where she belonged. Once again, Brooke came between Bill and Katie. CBS. But things got even worse for Katie when she experienced pains in her side and was rushed to the hospital where it was revealed that she needed a kidney transplant to save her life. In the end, the only viable donor was Flo, who gave a kidney to Katie in the hopes of righting some of the wrongs she had committed. As Katie recovered, she softened slightly towards Flo, but when she found out Bill had kissed Brooke while comforting her over her marital issues, Katie kicked him to the curb yet again. Bill continued trying to win Katie back and prove his love, but just as she was coming around, she overheard him proclaim his love for Brooke, and that put the kibosh on reconciling. He insisted that he would always love Brooke, while Katie was his future, but she thought separation was best. Katie also overheard Quinn and Shauna talking about how they tricked Ridge into marrying Shauna in Las Vegas, and quickly told him the truth. At Wyatt's urging, Katie convinced Donna and Brooke to welcome Flo into the Logan family. But she remained unforgiving towards Bill when he continued trying to get back together. Katie also got involved with Eric's marital drama with Quinn, and when she went to urge Carter Walton to back off of Eric's wife, she ended up making a friend. Stay tuned to see how Katie's story continues to unfold. Ad block test. Why?